actually right now doesn't really matter how you're looking at the indices, whether you're looking at the DIA or the YM, whether you're looking at the NASDAQ futures or the QQQ. Right now, to look for clarity at the index level, that broader market level, is actually really challenging. And I'm a futures trader. So, if anyone's going to tell you, hey, right now, yeah, you probably want to steer away from the broader averages. And in CHOP, and you might recall, we had an update called "This is a sector pickers market," and that's exactly what this is. It is a sector pickers market. What does that mean? That means that the clarity that you're going to find on, for example, the SPY isn't going to be at the SPY level, but rather at the, for example, XLF, XLV, or XLK level. Now, XLK and XLV are telling you that two of the pieces, this is as if you're decoding or dissecting, just hacking, right? This is a hack. How do you look at the S&P, hack it, and say, oh, okay, what is tech, financials, and healthcare doing? What are those markets doing? And then I can grab better clarity at the sector level than at the broader index level. And one of the things that we did, and we did this in both the futures and options room, I believe, and that is looking at financials, which have by and large been benefiting from the current monetary policy messaging from the Federal Reserve. We can see that the structure is actually one of the more slightly bullish to neutral structures. I mean, I'd rather be long financials right now, structure alone, and then you add the messaging. This is a market that's going to still be influenced mostly to the upside, because even though this is a sideways, the market that preceded the chop was up. So we're still carrying a bullish bias. And there are buys to be had. We've done it before, and I'll probably do it again in lieu of going with the S&P futures or even the SPY index. But when we dissect a little bit more and say, okay, if we like this financials narrative, what's another sector that we can drill down to and say this could be even better? Yes, we can eventually get to the individual stock. So again, the process is start with the index. In trends, the index is going to be the best. Once we start chopping, the next layer down is the sector. And if the sectors start to chop a lot, well, then we'll get down to the stock level. So still focusing on the sector, right? KRE, that is actually an alert that we sent out that we're now long in, because the KRE is actually one of those rare double green, right? Let me look at that. Double green buyable dips. I should do that in green, not red, but yeah, talk about just buy the dip, still working in certain corners of the market. And that just reminds us that, we could be short healthcare. We could be short bonds. We could be short industrials and even utilities. But we would want to stay longs, for example, the regional banks. And, even consumer discretionary is not a clear short yet. And this is where the tug of war is happening within the indices that's causing them to look somewhat weak, if not choppy. You can probably see that weak chop pretty clearly in the SPY, S&P, and the Dow. Those are clearly more bearish chop. If there's an index that's going to organize into a downtrend, I'm actually looking at the NAS. But if I'm going to play it, I'll look at communications. If you want to find a corner of the NASDAQ that is saying, hey, look, now we can short into the rip, sell the rip, it's XLC. And this is why I say right now, futures traders, stock traders, you've got to hack these markets using the sectors, right? And that means playing options. This is options trading on ETFs, right? And I like to remind my futures traders, in an ideal world, we are able to trade the sector futures contracts that, by the way, exist, but there's no liquidity there. So this is taking a futures contract that exists, that's unbelievably illiquid, and saying, all right, in an ideal world, I'd trade the futures on healthcare, but I've got to trade then the options on the ETF instead, because chop at the index level sort of drives us to more specificity at the ETF level. So I hope that makes sense. You can see some examples of trades that we're in. And if you like this kind of idea, if it resonates and makes sense, and hopefully it does, because we've been talking about this here in the free videos for about a couple weeks now, we have our second webinar. So this is a two-parter. The first part was, yeah, buy the dip is still working. We did it in KRE, so we don't want to ignore buy the dip. But we have chop. And now we're segueing into sell the rip. So in the second webinar that you can register at simplertrading.com/rotation, we're going to talk about, hey, what do we do in chop? What do we do in downtrends? What are the entry zones? What are the targets? What are the tools? And we're going to get into all of that tonight at 8 p.m. All right. So looking forward to seeing you there. Give me a shout out once you get there. If you're either in one of the rooms or Charts and Coffee, or you caught this in the free video, love seeing the folks that are just really getting it, following through on the fact that buy the dip doesn't last forever, but it doesn't mean that we can't find trades. One of the things that I loved seeing today were comments like this in our live trading, which was, ES hasn't really done anything, but focusing on the sectors profitable for 4 days in a row. I love that. If the market is up and I'm up, big deal, right? When the market is down and I'm up, I know I'm doing something right. And this is how those sectors work, all right? So looking forward to seeing you at the webinar. You're going to learn a lot. We always focus on the tools, how to understand what they mean for you. Check it out, simplertrading.com/rotation. I'll see you in the next update. Hey traders, Raghee from Simpler Trading. Thank you so much for watching this video. Be sure to leave a like and a comment below. And remember, subscribe and click the bell icon so you'll get notified of the next update. And when you're ready to join me for live trading, be sure to head on over to simplertrading.com. I'll see you in the next update.